This is Bob Oliphant from the Westford Historical Society and Museum, bringing you episode 39 of the Westford Wardsman podcast. The Westford Wardsman newspaper was part of Turner's Public Spirit, a weekly newspaper in Ayer a century ago. In this episode, we'll be reading the Wardsman for the week ending Saturday, September 26, 1908. I'll add commentary to elaborate on what was happening in Westford 114 years ago. The first section of the September 26, 1908 newspaper is the About Town section. At the Republican Caucus Tuesday evening, the Honorable Herbert E. Fletcher, chairman of the Town Committee, read the call and was chosen chairman of the caucus and Alfred Hartford secretary. Delegates were elected to the several conventions. These included the state convention, congressional convention, a town committee, and a county convention, I guess. A motion of William R. Taylor to instruct the delegates to the state convention to vote for Luce was voted down. I don't know who Luce was, although that's the same name as the first pastor of the Congregational Church when it split off from the First Parish Church in 1828. But I think this is a different Luce family. Mary Flynn is seriously ill at her home on the Stony Brook Road. The Westford Athletic Association, which has had such a successful year in making other athletic associations unsuccessful, will hold a barn dance jollification time at Town Hall Friday evening, October 2nd. Music by Hibbard's Orchestra of Lowell. Let all lovers of this type of sociability come and be taken again. The Curtis Gilman family of Methuen, former residents of the town, were visitors at Samuel L. Taylor's last Sunday. The next meeting of Westford Grange will be held Thursday evening, October 1st, at which time a large class will be initiated. The milk, now being carried to West Littleton, has been sold to Herman Decatur of Lowell, and Fred C. Smith will collect and deliver, he being the same Smith with the same previous experience. Allusion was made in a recent article in the Westford Wardsman to a cozy home-like gathering at Paradise Spring, which has led to several inquiries as to the location of said spring. There is Cathead Spring in the southwest part of the town, where the boundaries of Acton, Carlisle, Littleton, and Westford all guard territorial rights. Mysterious Spring on the westerly edge of Tadmuck Swamp. Neshoba Spring, noted for its medicinal qualifications to unseat disease on the Foster Farm. Cold Spring, near Stony Brook and Westford stations, after which farms, roads, and post offices are named, and the Licensed Spring at Ford's Village, which sprang up as a spring last spring. That's a reference to the new bar or pub in Ford's Village. But Paradise Spring seems to be without either latitude, longitude, or equator. There is no doubt of its existence, but dense ignorance doesn't know the points of the compass that lead to it. Haven't been to Ford's Village to lose the points of the compass either. Now perhaps someone well-versed in natural history will just suggest a few of the roads, bridges, lakes, and mountains that are traveled over in going to Paradise Spring. Make it quite clear, as there is now and then a stupid person. I believe that Paradise Spring was located in an area called Paradise, which was located on the north-facing hill of Tadmuck Hill, where the town center is located. The next section is for the Westford Center section. There are to be some changes in the train service of our Stony Brook Railroad. Station agent Whitten has not been notified of just what the new schedule is to be, but rumor has it that the first train down and the last train up at night, familiarly known as Conductor Bixby's train, is to be discontinued, and to offset this, the train of the American Express Company that goes through in the morning from Worcester and Ayer will have a passenger coach attached and stop here for passengers. This would be later and would not accommodate businessmen so well in the morning and less well at night. A protesting petition is in circulation. A marriage of interest to many Westford people is that of Miss Josephine L. Bright to Reverend Frank W. Baker at the home of the bride in South Royalton, Vermont, Monday, September 21st. Miss Bright is a sister of Mrs. John P. Wright and has spent various periods of time here with her sister, making many friends who extend many good wishes for her happiness and prosperity. Mr. and Mrs. Baker are spending a part of the honeymoon with Mr. and Mrs. Wright. We sincerely hope the serious drought will be a thing of the past before this item reaches the reader, but never was the fine new water supply installed last year more appreciated by the users than now. Miss Grace L. Fletcher, eldest daughter of J. Willard Fletcher, and Edward M. Sabin of Augusta, Maine, were united in marriage at Lynn on September 3rd. Mr. Sabin holds a responsible position at the Insane Hospital at Danvers, and Miss Fletcher, who is a trained nurse, is also employed at the same institution. Her many friends extend their good wishes for her happiness and prosperity. The next section is the Grange Section. There was a good attendance of the members at the regular meeting on Thursday evening at September 17th. Balloting on the large class of candidates to be admitted to the order next month took up considerable time. This class will bring the membership up to about 175. It has been decided to run a course of lectures and entertainment the coming season. At the lecturer's hour, Samuel L. Taylor gave a recitation in his original way, which was so much enjoyed that he recited it a second time. I wonder what the recitation was. It'd be interesting to know that. The Grange Orchestra gave 2 selections that were much appreciated, and Frank Chandler read an article on mountain climbing. State Deputy Leslie B. Smith, who was scheduled for a previous meeting, was present and gave a talk on industrial education. The hour was late, but Mr. Smith gave an interesting talk on the subject. The members are busy with plans to go to Groton to Neighbors' Night October 27th, and to Carlisle October 14th, contributing their share of the entertainment. Bill Ricca is the invited Grange here on Neighbors' Night October 15th. The ladies' degree staff performed the work of the 3rd degree on that evening. The next section is the Granite Rail section. In spite of the excellent water service now being extended by the Westford Water Company, and with the main pipe running within 30 feet of the town farm in West Graniteville, the town authorities have not installed a system of running water in the town farm buildings for the use of both man and beast. The people at the farm are very much in need of water at the present time owing to the extended dry spell. The town farm was where elderly people went to spend the last years of their life when they were town residents and had no other family to take care of them or any other place to go. Court Graniteville Foresters of America will hold its annual dance in Westford Town Hall on Friday evening, October 9th. Mr. and Mrs. O.W. Sherman of Daramuscata, Maine, have been recent guests of Dr. and Mrs. William H. Sherman in this village. Cameron Circle, Companions of the Foresters of America, held a very interesting meeting in its rooms on Tuesday evening. Considerable business of importance was transacted, and after the meeting closed, a social hour was enjoyed, during which dancing was indulged in by members and their gentlemen friends. Excellent music was furnished on the piano by Miss Ruth Furbush and Omer Leduc violin. It is the intention of the circle to have these social affairs every 2 weeks. The town men who are working on Broadway in this village have taken a sudden brace of late and have made a better showing during the past few days than they had for the previous 2 weeks. The citizens here understand that $600 is to be expended for streets in this locality. J.B. Healy, the local contractor, has commenced operations on the repairing of a certain portion of Main Street in Westford Center. This particular part of the street is composed principally of ledges, and considerable blasting will have to be done. The next section is baseball. The West Ends of Littleton visited here last Saturday afternoon and in a closely contested baseball game defeated the Brimstones by a score of 15-13. It took 10 innings to decide the game, and during that time the crowd was constantly on its feet, and the rooters on both sides made things interesting from start to finish. The Brimstones outbatted their opponents, but the Littleton boys had the happy faculty of hitting the ball when runs were needed, and aided by the costly errors of the Brimstones at critical stages of the game, managed to land a victory. Loftus, the local catcher, turned on his ankle in the seventh inning, but pluckily went behind the bat once more and remained until the ninth, when he exchanged places with Ledwith, who finished the game. The feature of the game were the heavy stick work of Ledwith, Healy, Moran, and Gower for the Brimstones, the pitching of H. Caney, the all-around work of R. Caney for the West Ends. The next section is the Forge Village section. The Ladies' Sewing Circle held its first supper and dance of the season at Recreation Hall Saturday evening. Among the out-of-town guests who attended were Reverend Dr. Miller of Philadelphia and Miss Shaw, niece of Reverend Medville McLaughlin. After supper, dancing was enjoyed by a large number. Miss Sarah Precious and James Brown of this village and Mr. Brewster of Elwood, Indiana, furnished music. The proceeds will go for the benefit of the Mission House. The Sewing Circle met at the Mission House Wednesday afternoon. Reverend Medville McLaughlin will preach his farewell sermon at the Mission House Sunday, September 27th at 4:30 p.m. Sunday school will also commence. At the meeting of the MUOF, I think that stands for the Manchester Unity of Oddfellows, but I'm not positive. Dr. Cyril Blaney was the successful candidate for the Lodge physician in place of the late Dr. Sleeper. Mrs. Buxhorn and son Fisher of Concord, New Hampshire, are at her cottage, the Tadmuck. Mr. and Mrs. William Murphy of Lowell entertained a large party of school teachers for the weekend at Crow's Nest. Mr. and Mrs. Thomas Fisher and Mr. and Mrs. Knowles of Lowell were at the Birches. Mrs. McGuane and daughter of South Lowell at Mr. and Mrs. James Sullivan's. These were all cottages on Forge Pond. Alan Karkin of Gardner is spending his vacation at his father's, Alan Willard Karkin, in Westford. Mr. and Mrs. Good entertained Mr. and Mrs. Woodward at their cottage for a few days. Mr. Woodward is principal of the Westford Academy. I believe the Good cottage was on Forge Pond, but located in the town of Littleton. The Forge Village Lions defeated the Burnsides of Lowell Saturday afternoon, 22-13. The Lions play the Zolas of Lowell on the home grounds this Saturday. That's the news in Westford for the week ending September 26, 1908. Thank you for listening, and thanks to Nick Woodbury of WestfordCAT for providing technical support. You can find transcriptions from the Wardsman at the Westford Historical Society's website at westfordmuseum.org, or visit the Historical Society's Facebook page for more Westford news from a century ago. This is Bob Oliphant, and I hope you will join us for next week's Westford Wardsman podcast. Thank you.